There we go. All right, call the meeting to order. We've got 4 in attendance. We'll start off with any public comments or general announcements. Florida.
Morning.
Morning, Kim. We're already in session 1. No comments though, sounds like. So we'll go straight to the minutes. Look at that, ahead of schedule. Ahead of schedule by 1 minute.
Yes.
Hey, does anyone have any comments, or is that Reed coming in?
Yeah, I just had a question. This might just be because I wasn't there last time. On this second bullet under public comment, Reed Parker reported that the bog on Mud Pond is becoming unstable due to foot traffic.
Yes.
The bog itself is becoming unstable?
Yeah, people walk out onto it.
That was the public comment.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Dave.
I've not investigated. Reed was out there doing work on his wood duck boxes last spring and put his foot through part of the floating bog. So that's what that's where that comment came from. What I can't say is whether that is like a very localized thing. That can happen on a floating bog, even
Yeah,
if ecological integrity is normal. So
yeah. Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure that was written. Anyway, okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Do you think it'd be helpful to edit that comment if it's misleading or anything?
I don't know. It's probably not all that important. If that's what he reported, then we can just, I'm fine leaving it that way.
I could add that he observed or it appeared or something like that. Make it clear that it's more subjective.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Or I can use the word may. Maybe become.
Just like a manuscript discussion section.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, any other comments? All right, hearing no other comments on the minutes, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve with that small change.
Okay, thanks, Lauren.
Second.
Thank you, Kid. All in favor? Aye, so that's 4 of us. 5.
Are
you gonna abstain?
Oh, right. I'll abstain. Sorry.
sure?
We are jamming through the agenda. We just approved the minutes. I hope you didn't have it. Hope you didn't have any comment. All right,
It's not too late. You can
it's
have
not,
a-
it's not too late. No, I'm good. You missed your window. All right. The conservation planner update. I can't wait to hear what mud season is about.
Straightforward. Great. Am I sharing anything? Have we seen Eric? You've seen this?
Yes. Yep. You got the website up.
Okay.
Nope, not for us.
You're just seeing
Oh,
the
it's totally-
website. Let me jump to here. Are you now seeing the map? Town map?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So let me find myself here. Okay, so the planning and zoning received a report from Public Works 2 weeks ago, and since then a public comment that there has been some unpermitted clearing on Old Creamery Road. So it's conservation issues, so I wanted to inform the Conservation Commission. There's not anything to be done by the Conservation Commission this time, but I wanted to cue you in case you hear anything about it, if anyone's asking kind of what happened. So this is 0 Old Creamery Road. My understanding of the backstory or information on this parcel is that it was briefly in town ownership, and it was sold at auction. It was purchased relatively not long ago. It's almost entirely wetland, so there's little opportunity for development on site. But recently, DJ's Tree Service went out there and cleared the vast majority of the interior of the parcel.
Oh, it was, someone was hired to, I initially thought you were gonna be like, there's some unauthorized
Yeah.
trails.
No,
No,
That's what I was
no,
thinking
the whole
too.
site was leveled through most of the wetlands, like up to the stream buffers and all that. So a zoning violation warning letter was sent to the landowner. The landowner has since been in to check in. The story there is that he was looking for a way to use the parcel and thought perhaps he could do Christmas trees or pumpkins or something like that. That was the story that was given us.
and didn't know that they needed to come in.
Yes. The state wetlands program has been informed, and they're going out there to investigate in situations like this. Once the state is involved, if it's a wetland situation, they're probably gonna be more of a pain in the ass for the landowner than the town is.
Mhm.
So we're gonna kind of follow their lead. What clearing, according to the bylaw, clearing more than a quarter acre requires a discretionary permit. So obviously that didn't happen here. What we can do is, in terms of like our mechanisms for planning and zoning, is we can work with the applicant, have them go, like, put in a permit application retroactively, go to the DRB, find out that that wouldn't be approvable on this site, almost certainly, but they can go through the process. If they don't work with the state and we're not seeing signs that there is a restoration plan on the way or a plan to kind of remediate the situation, then we can escalate to a notice of zoning violation and institute fees. What I've understood from folks who've been in planning and zoning a long time is that that's very difficult for the town and to actually collect and enforce. We just don't have strong mechanisms in planning and zoning to do that, so that's generally the last preferred option. So that's the situation out there. It's a little unfortunate, but right now it's more of a, let's see what happens with the state. Let's continue to hear from the landowner about what they're planning to do in response to learning that they needed a permit and that the site was almost wetlands and it probably.
Why did the town sell it in the first place if no one could do anything with it?
Why did someone buy it?
Yeah.
That's my
Cause they
question.
didn't know.
They
couldn't do
probably
anything
didn't
with
know,
it.
yeah.
It's a fair
Yeah,
question. Fair question. I think Laura's assessment is right. I'm sure that it was bought with the idea that they could do something with it. I
Do you know when? Like how recently?
want to say in the last year or something.
Wait, really?
Or 2 years. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Sort of like the strip of wetland behind LaFave Lane, like in between LaFave Lane and like the Lewis Farm, sold right before we moved in. And it's someone who is the neighbor or was the neighbor. I think they moved to the Lewis Farm. And I was like, why did you buy that? And they said, oh, so no one could develop it. And I was like, oh. Yep, no one could develop it, but okay.
It was already, it's fine.
Yeah, I just was like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's always nice to give someone the benefit of the doubt, and you know, the story is that they didn't know. They also talked about, they were thinking if they cleared it out and put pumpkins, you know, maybe they could put feed plots for hunting or something like that.
What did they cut? Do we know what was there?
It would have, most likely, I mean, you can see from here, the arrow, this would have been scrub shrub. I'm sure there were some trees, but you know, it's almost entirely mapped as wetland. So most likely shrubby vegetation, alders,
Street View
probably
has,
some honeysuckle invasives like
Yeah.
that. But it was pretty extensive, so I'm sure clearing into what most likely white pine here. And these successional trees that we're starting to seed back into the wetland.
Yeah, I saw some big trees being cut down there.
yeah, there's some
Yeah, you
big,
saw- okay, you
big-
saw it,
there's
yeah.
big trees right on the street view of it. like,
Yeah.
They're clearly.
There was a buffer left around the outside, but the polygon, Matt, Director of Planning and Zoning, went out there to take some photos. The polygon that he kind of drew was pretty extensive. Most of the middle of it.
Wow.
So some neighbors have been in to report it. And we're moving the mechanisms forward and we'll kind of see what happens there, but.
Is there
Yeah,
any,
yeah.
I mean, if this really did have, like, if this sale went through in like the last, like, 5 years. I think it's pretty wild that the Conservation Commission wasn't identified, because you could probably look at that parcel. And identify it from the, the ERF prioritization map as probably being a high priority, because it is a wetland and it is.
Well, but we are the ones who sold it, yeah?
Yeah, that's what's
So
crazy.
it would have been exempt from, like, it wouldn't have, I can't remember what we did with town parcels, but I think.
We wouldn't have had it on we would have been like, it's not a desired location, because we already own
Yeah,
it.
maybe, I don't know,
Right.
it's.
Fail.
Fail, yeah, just like.
I think it's one of those things that, generally with long-term parcels that are in town ownership, they're not looking to wheel and deal them. I think it was the kind of situation where it came into town ownership, maybe somebody
Donated it.
defaulted, or something along those lines, like it,
Yeah.
I can find more information.
It wasn't
if you're
considered an
interested.
asset, it was something the town had.
But I think the point is that perhaps there's a loophole, however infrequently it may come up, where like, it would have been nice if we as the Conservation Commission had known about that this parcel was in town ownership and
Yeah.
that it was potentially going to be sold, because we could have looked at the map and said, wait.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Isn't this part of your glacial spillway?
That was, say, I don't know where it is on.
Pretty close to that, and I'd say so, it's part of the really. I don't know if you could quite say headwaters, but it's Sucker Brook.
Near the origins.
This is the glacial spillway right here, and then Sucker Brook meanders out of that and crosses Old Creamery Road twice. Through an interesting, there's
Oh, yeah.
actually a town and parcel here too.
Don't sell it.
And like you can see, this is all pretty extensive wetlands, pretty extensive wetland. It takes a very strange, hard 90-degree left turn, which is, this is probably channeled and ditched here.
No, that's totally not.
That looks a little bit more natural.
And then, this looks, yeah.
No.
ditching.
Boy.
And then comes out right into this parcel here. And I think this is some additional collection of water from, some of these hills, right?
Jay.
So it's definitely pertinent and important to the Sucker Brook watershed, and this is a named stream, so, even if this was all upland, you'd still have to have a 150-foot buffer with Sucker Brook, so there's a lot of things that got missed here. Yeah, I do know that the opinion of planning and zoning is generally that we shouldn't be selling an unbuildable parcel.
Yeah.
Because you're just tempting fate,
Yeah.
people
Right.
don't know all the rules, they don't always come in to ask.
I mean, there's nothing you can do with that parcel, it never should have been sold.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed it and I didn't know. I didn't think about it.
Well, cause you probably weren't like, oh, it's you,
Right.
right, like.
The one thing I can say is at least they did it in the winter, maybe, is
Yeah.
that redeemable?
I mean, again, try to give people the benefit of the doubt and, best case scenario is, and this person really didn't know. They really were just trying to think, can I find any use for this land that I bought? Maybe I can do a little bit of light agriculture. That's the story and,
I think it's.
unfortunately,
interesting.
it's also a mess up
Yeah,
and needs to be fixed.
I think it's interesting that people noticed it and knew that it was a problem.
The neighbors certainly did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, who does authorize those parcels to go out for sale?
Town manager's office.
Town manager's office, okay, wow. Wow. Someone tripped and landed straight on their nose. Let's move on to the next one. Great, mud season. I imagine you're gonna tell us all the trails are closed.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, so just mud season, I'm probably gonna do a mud season post soon, just reminding people to be gentle on the trails. My knowledge from being here, the time that I have is that Williston has never had a policy of formally closing trails in mud season, except in the case of Catamount. So the trails at Catamount have been closed for mud season. And they'll be open either as they dry out or if we get a freak snowstorm. They'll be available ungroomed for people to go ski. But other than that, the trails, Five Tree Hill, Sucker Brook, Mud Pond are not formally closed. I was peeking through some of our management plans. Mud Pond has a clause in the management plan that says we should discourage use of the trails. Consider posting a sign that says maybe don't walk. I'm not exactly sure what that would mean, but
Fellowship sends out emails discouraging people.
Discouraging.
Yeah, Sucker Brook has also in the past had some closures when it's been in really bad
I was
shape.
gonna say Melinda did in the past go out and,
Put up a sign and,
or like, I feel like we had a sawhorse at one point
across the trail.
across the trail, yeah,
yeah,
that we got from maybe.
One of the challenges with that is that,
People just,
yeah,
Yeah. People
the
don't pay
people who would listen to a informational message saying, please, you would be light on the trails, maybe. Don't go this week if it's raining, things like that. Are the same people who show up and go, oh, the trail's closed, okay, and they leave. The
right,
people who stay and hike anyway, there was no point in closing the trail, so.
we just did a big panel survey of like people visiting national forest trail networks and what like deters them and what anchors them, and it was like mildly upsetting to see the results. A lot of people were like, well, I had plans to get this photo for social media, and by God, I'm gonna get my photo for social media.
Wow, yeah.
And then I was like, these results are weird, and so I sent my students out to the green on Monday when it was like bright and sunny, and they surveyed over 100 like UVM students and asked them if that is a factor, and it was like overwhelmingly yes.
wow, that's
Wanting to capture a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like the Instagrammable, I was like, there's a paper in this and the title is doing it for the gram.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know what the deterrence then is. It's
Right.
like, here's a green screen, you don't have to walk on our mighty trails.
Well, it's an interesting point, because I think regionally, if we're looking at mud season trail stewardship on a broader scale, it's better for people to be walking in places like Williston in mud season than it is to be walking in the greens. So,
Sure.
and that's kind of consistent with Green Mountain Club messaging, seek out lower areas to
Yeah.
travel quicker.
Yeah.
They make very clear every piece of high country is closed through Memorial Day. And it's always a bummer for my kids because they want to start hiking like as soon
Right.
as ski season's
Mhm.
over.
I like at so I went hiking at Sucker Brook over the weekend, and the biggest problem is that when people see a muddy trail, they just go around the
Mhm.
mud, right? And then the
Just
mud
like-
expands and expands and expands. And the roots that were holding together everything on the sides of the trails get damaged and get eroded, so. I would almost favor education to get people to use the trails and to wear appropriate gear and
Yeah.
just walk through the mud.
Right,
And then
like
teach
walk
each other.
through the deepest part, actually.
Yeah, like to stay in the middle no matter what.
Yeah,
Bust out your
And wear
waders.
waterproofs if you need to wear waterproofs, and tell other people you see to put on their waterproofs and walk down the middle.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the trail gets degraded and then nobody can enjoy it, so.
Why does Catamount keep the carriage roads closed? I understand all the mountain bike trails perfectly, but the carriage roads hold up, like. Why do they close those? Is it because the
Once people are on them,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
general, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know the definitive answer. I would think Reed is thinking along the lines that make the most sense to me, just general crowd.
Just if you could keep people on the carriage roads, then at the very least, you've got people an option to like go outside when it starts getting nice out.
Yeah, it's true.
I had a conversation with, it wasn't the Catamount manager, but it was someone, it might have been in the planning office during COVID. Like, it was mud season, everybody was desperate to get outside, and Catamount was posted closed, so being the good person that I was, didn't use them. But it was kind of frustrating, it's like, you know, and so that was kind of, I actually do remember at one point, we did have to close some trails.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of like, what are we doing? So I'm glad that we're not gonna close any of them. But yeah, wear tall boots.
You could mention that the ticks are out and that might.
Oh, yeah,
also
it takes
keep
out. Really?
people away. Yeah,
Already?
yeah,
Thank you, ticks.
they are.
Wow, I haven't seen any yet, but
Trail
good to know.
management.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that story about the Lone Star tick causing?
Alpha Gal.
Yeah,
I didn't see a story about it, but I thought that Ben had it. We like came back from Kentucky and he like a couple winters ago and like burst out in a rash and I was like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
happened. But it turns out he just had hives.
wow.
What a relief.
Yeah, literally. There is a very scary story in the Times, right now about it. So it's like spreading, it's getting really
We
bad.
have it, we have the ones.
I didn't even think about the ticks.
Let me,
Good point.
let's jump to
Yeah,
Zoom here. I'm not
it's
sure
like
we're
that.
hearing.
Oh,
Right.
Eric had to do something with Charlotte and he will be back out.
Yeah, yeah, take her to.
Yeah, so a comment from Reed Willis, says, use some imagination, walk on back roads and carry a trash bag while you're at it.
There
That's
you
a
go.
great idea.
Thank you, Reed.
Yeah, I
I think
think
it's a good point. Yeah, I think, you know, roads like Governor Chittenden are good
Yeah, yeah.
option, you know, the.
And you
Yeah.
can park at Catamount and walk on
The road.
Grudgett for anyone who is listening or watching the recording afterwards. It's a great option.
I just feel like in general, it's been pretty unsuccessful in the past to try to stop people from doing things. So to get people to do things better is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And if you get people out who did read the notices, they can help educate people who didn't read the notices
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
well. So
Once I went to ride at Catamount and it was like right after the trails closed and someone was like, did you know that they're closed? And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not. I'm so embarrassed and rode home. So I do feel like that's true.
like
With your wheel between your legs.
an educated user base is better than
Yeah.
like all the educated folks staying home because they know they shouldn't be out there
Mhm.
biking or
Yeah.
hiking or whatever, and then the people who are out there just don't know or don't care.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could have done Governor Chittenden
Yeah.
Road.
Another thing we can do is just continue to work on hardening trails, so areas that have those muddy problems, get some punching in them.
Yeah.
The scouts put in a bunch of punch in at Pond last season. If you're there in the middle of the summer, some of the spots look pretty dry, and I was looking at them like, oh, do we need it here? Could we use it somewhere else? But I think
Then
now
you
is the
see it
time where
wetter.
they're like, oh, actually,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you can go there and wash
Sure.
mostly dry
Yeah.
ones.
You know, to this point, and I think this would be like we'd have to make this decision as a town and like talk about how much investment in terms of dollar bills and time it would take. But one of the interesting things about spending time on Vancouver Island is that they have tons of world-class trails. Like that's where BC Bike Race is. It's truly like we could ride for 4 hours out of our door. And people ride in the rain all the time. Like when we first got there, we were like, oh, it's raining. People were like, what are you gonna melt? I was like, well, I don't want to damage the trail. And they were like, what are you talking about? Their
Right.
trails are like because it rains all the time, right? They're super purpose built
Yeah.
to handle the rain.
Right.
And they really are. It's actually really incredible. Like it took us a while to adjust to be like, oh, it's fine. We're not doing damage.
Yeah,
And there, like, sometimes if it would be like really raining, there would even be like the town of Cumberland has like a part-time trail crew. Like people would be out there, like just making sure the water bars were like,
Fix the water
Yeah.
bars while you're out there.
yeah.
well,
Um,
I think it's an excellent conversation. I think, to me, I fall very firmly on the side of the invest more in the trails. It's a
Yeah.
long-term need and, but it's
Mhm.
also an ethos change, I think, because there's a big difference in East Coast and West Coast trails.
For
And
sure.
that a lot of East Coast trails are legacy trails. They're logging roads, they're, you know, trails that were put in late 1800s to early 1900s when it was like, I want to go up there.
Yeah.
Go straight up the stream.
Yeah.
And we're kind of juggling that legacy. But on that line, we did just post for the seasonal trail steward's job.
Yes,
And
nice transition
Yes,
there.
very
and
good.
O'Day, who had that job for the last 5 years, has been transitioning out. She's gonna go do the PCT this year on some very nice trails.
Very nice.
So we're hiring for somebody who can really fill out that position and the hope is that we have up to 270 hours for that position on a pretty flexible basis, and I'm hoping that'll essentially give us someone from late May through mid-August, working up to 20 hours a week. And that will be a huge gain, a huge benefit. Last year, I was trying to do all the conservation planning stuff and help with the DRB and then get out on the trails and monitor and fix things
Yeah,
and
we need somebody
keep
out there.
coordinated, and it's just too much for one person. So this will really help our ability to even understand what's going on out on our trails. And once that person is on, I'd also love to come back to the Conservation Commission and talk a little bit about potentially rebooting public participation in trail stewardship. We used to have adopt a trail and that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I think it'll be a good time to kind of revisit what kind of model might work for Williston with some of your experience, having seen that program play out in the past, and think a little bit together about how we can invest more in our trails with these different components of, you know, conservation planner who's thinking a little more high level, a trail steward who's seasonal but out there consistently throughout the summer. I'm hoping that we can continue to increase their funding so that we can get more time at that position as the years go on. And then potentially volunteers coordinating or scouting, things like that.
How many days a week for what you have posted now?
It could be, my ideal is, you know, once you get to, yeah, there you go. It's on Indeed as well. Oh wait, what website is that?
Vermont Town Careers.
Oh, all right, it's already.
Mm.
That's great. My ideal is, you know, it'll be a little transitional time at the end of May, just getting them familiarity. And then from June and July, a solid 20 hours a week, so 4 hour half days
Mhm.
every day of the week, if possible. But it's a very flexible position, and that's the only real benefit it has as part-time seasonal. So if we get somebody who's, you know, they're looking for something outside of the academic year, and you know, they're only available from June through mid-August, like we can work with that. We get somebody who has a little more time, but it's gonna be taking off a week in the middle or 2 weeks in the middle, and wants more flexible hours, it can accommodate that pretty easily. So, we'll see. I posted it, to a couple different channels. Laura's gonna, send it around via man.
I did, yeah.
Jim knows a lot of students.
Who knows a
I
lot
know,
of students.
but do we want it, I just was like, should I send it
They
to
need
our
to be
internship
18, right?
coordinator, or do we want it to be someone who's gonna keep it for multiple summers?
I've already had interest from UVM students. And so I think
Okay,
we'll see who applies, and I did send contacted someone at UVM, potentially posted a Rubenstein, so.
Sarah Mel,
Yeah, I just reached out to Walt. He contacted
Yeah.
him to put me in touch with that, but that's probably who it
Yeah.
might be going to. Sarah Mel.
Sarah Mel, all one name.
Sarah,
Excellent.
What do you think about that, Kim? Do you think we should post it, or?
I mean, I opened an email to them and then I was like, is that who we want? Do we want? Cause so the Parks Rec and Tourism undergrads have to do internships, they can be paid. So do the forestry students, same deal, and so there now is the time where. People who will be like rising juniors and seniors are like, oh, could I do something if they haven't already?
Yeah.
That would count towards credit in the fall, but they would probably be unlikely to come back. So if that would be, I think it really depends what you.
I think that's
looking
just
for.
something to take into consideration, you know, if we get. I think if we ended up with someone like that, who's got a lot of energy and interest, and, you know, maybe he's worked in trails before, but has a lot of learning to. They have the time to put in, and the energy will benefit a lot.
Mhm.
If, on the other hand, we're comparing someone like that to somebody who has a, you know, maybe more career or has a lot more trail interest and says, hey, this
Yeah.
is great, a great thing for me to balance with all of my other part-time
Yeah.
things. We'd probably want to go with that person.
The experience and the ability to do maybe multiple years could be.
Yeah,
attractive.
but then, right, we could also get somebody who, like when Anne was starting out, is retired, has a lot of time, really cares
Yeah.
about the town.
Well, that's
You know,
kind of what I was
so-
thinking, like, are we really hoping for, 2.0?
I think we just have to see who applies and see what kind of interest and experience. I see this role over time potentially growing. And also in this camp, in addition to trail work, is invasive species management, volunteer coordination, tree planting, and potentially even some natural resource inventory. It could be a huge help to my
Mhm.
position to have this role grow. So.
I'm gonna ask Saravel to share it with PRT and forestry students.
Yeah, I was contacted by a forestry student already.
Yeah, they have a required.
Okay, they require.
Yeah. It does mean if you get an intern, a Rubenstein intern, there's like a whole MOU thing, which maybe adds another administrative level.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I think, I'd say, you know, the town is really viewing this as a part-time job. So I don't know if they're looking to kill two birds with one stone, like, I think I qualify for this job and it also fill my intern requirements. I'm happy to sign some forms for that. I think we don't necessarily want to turn it into an intern role. Definitely hoping that whoever we have will be able to have a lot of autonomy, and not necessarily require a lot of supervision.
Yeah.
But I think it all just depends on the person, what their experience and interest is.
Yeah, okay.
Great. I wanna keep moving, town fair.
Yeah, okay, so last thing, we're 6 minutes over, I'll make it quick, is just town green fairs coming up on May 2nd. And I just wanted to put on your radar, I think we're not gonna talk about it this time, but that means that next time, April 15th, is kind of your only opportunity to plan for it. So last time, there was some brainstorming ideas, could we have maps? Could we put these potential ERF priorities on a list and have people comment on which ones they're interested in, or submit comments, some other things? So think about that a little bit over the next 2 weeks. And I'll put it on the agenda for April 15th, and it'd be great if you could come in with ideas ready to have that conversation about how you wanna staff Green Fair and what you wanna do. Cause we'll also potentially have a development review, habitat disturbance assessment to look at next time
Excellent.
as well.
And if anyone wants to volunteer to wrangle those horses, for that event, that would be a good time to raise your hand and say that you're willing to support that, because I think it will take a little bit of organizing and manning a table schedule and having folks show up.
I know in the past I've taken either a partnering or a lead role on the town green fair. And this year, I think I'm gonna have to take a lesser role. It's kind of like 5 overlapping conflicts so far today. It's not looking good.
Fair enough. All right.
Laura did the heavy work last year.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, Laura's out there
Thinking
doing.
around.
What is the date?
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Well, I'm making that comment to say it didn't necessarily only fall to Laura again, so if anyone else is willing to step
But there's
up.
some experience there too.
That's true. And there are, I think, other things I'm not available for, so
Okay, yeah,
I'm fine.
I
To
can
do
join
it.
you on the second, if you're
Okay.
planning on doing.
okay, think about it, no one needs to make any hard comments to it, but back to you. Dave.
So, at the end of the last meeting, Laura said that she has completed her first draft of the invasive species draft management plan. impressive. It was not linked in the agenda, so we haven't had a chance to review it.
Okay, yeah,
So I can pull that up, yeah,
okay,
didn't get a chance to connect with Laura, so I wasn't sure if it was ready to be posted. But
yeah, I should have told you,
Okay.
oh, I see it in the, it's fine to
No
link it, I
worries.
should have said that.
that was just our miscommunication, so let me.
I'm happy to spend the next 20 minutes doing a walkthrough.
Yeah, we can just walk through it.
Yeah. And then if you wanna share it with us after the fact, then maybe we can have any follow-up discussions at the next meeting
Mhm.
for a shorter agenda topic.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah, I can work on it from now and then. Yeah, because I really do want other people's ideas. Because these are really just my own thoughts about it.
Great.
And I plagiarized Dave a little bit. So.
It's borrowing, it's
Upcycle.
collaboration.
You upcycled some of the
Upcycle.
same
Fine.
rudimentary ideas into
Yes.
a beautiful plan.
And the actual writing of it.
At 9, I'm gonna leave a little bit early today. At 9, I have to give a presentation about how to use citations. And I made Nico help me do it all in Gen Z slang.
Oh, that's,
Oh my,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
don't do that.
yeah,
That's so cringe.
yeah. There you go, there you go.
All right, Laura, keep us on track here.
Okay, so
Okay, here we go.
get this. Zoom in, and then let me get the screen share going. Folks in the room can see it, but, and I see we have Chapin in
oh,
attendance.
Chapin, yay.
So Chapin, I'm gonna, give you the allow to talk button. Because I know you'll probably have some comments. So feel free to jump in as the conversation is going on, and let me share the screen here. I think it's this one. Is that right? That's right. Well, no,
There's an opportunity here for the world to make screen sharing on Zoom easier.
there we go. Okay.
Okay. Chapin, glad you're here.
I don't know if he was planning on talking or if he's walking around listening on his headset, so.
That's
Oh, okay.
No,
problem.
I'm hearing you, thanks.
Okay, so this is pretty much an outline, and I did it this way to really welcome other ideas, but my main emphasis is that something needs to be done, and we have all these invasive species plans, and I list them in the second paragraph, and they just kind of like, does anybody even know they're there? I mean, the Catamount one that Ethan wrote, the Catamount Forest Management team knows is there, but
We're also technically supposed to do even a separate invasive species management
you are.
plan at Catamount.
It's in the works.
oh, that's great.
But
Okay.
it adds to your point of like many disparate,
Mhm.
unchecked and on things.
Right, and a lot of these are kind of written and then they're somewhere, but does anybody ever look at them again? And really what they are, you know, this is what's here. Here are some resources, you should get a contractor and take care of this, and that's really what the management plans are. So, for something to actually work, you need it to be easy and cheap. And, you know, it's not gonna be a fight too much for money, and it has to be organized, so if you are asking for money, you have to do it in a logical way. And the first focus, number one priority is early detection of exotic plants. Because that way, you can take care of them before they become an issue. So I know in parts of the state, like burning bush is much more of an issue than it is here. And I know in my yard, it's an issue, and I keep finding it because I had a burning bush tree, and these are trees along with barberry that were planted and are still around on businesses. because-
Ornamentals.
Ornamental.
Honeysuckle.
Yeah, and they're in yards, so that the word needs to get out there. Anyway. Early
I
detection,
mean, that is, I think you can still buy at nurseries, or you could not that long ago.
you can't anymore in Vermont, it's illegal.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
can't, but you can.
Right, I feel like
You're
I,
both right.
I feel like I've seen-
Nurseries do, it does slip through the cracks.
Ah, okay,
yeah,
all right,
Um,
that's good to know,
yeah.
okay. So early detection. So there are people, who can recognize invasives and, we have to make sure that there are people out there that maybe we can even train and say, hey, if you're gonna do adopt a trail, or if we have a person here for the summer, can those individuals keep an eye out
Mhm.
for, get familiar with Vermont invasives? Tell your, people you're training about them, show them how to use iNaturalist if they don't know how to use it, and, then report back to the conservation planner if you see something.
Mhm.
Not especially things that we know might be out there, not weed and maple species. Okay. Yeah, the part-time trail steward, interested citizens. So I've done a bunch of educational walks and people get really excited when I take them out, and because I was licensed to do this, I would take them through Catamount, show them how to do cut stump. And because I was licensed, they were able to do it with me, because I was overseeing them. And I would order a whole bunch of buckthorn blasters, which are basically bingo daubers. And I would give them to them and say, okay, now you can do this on your own property. You cannot do this anywhere else. And,
How did that work? And did people use them? Did it?
oh, yeah, people really, are excited about. Kind of like I don't know if you know, the homegrown national park idea, but taking their own property and making sure that it doesn't have invasives, which
Yeah.
is great.
Stewarding
Because,
their own land.
yeah, because then you have all these people doing this, and then you don't have birds taking barberry from their property
Right.
off to all the other places that you've already cleared or whatever, right? So, interested citizens, that's a great thing to do, and, I usually, print out beautiful, colorful, photos of invasives and put them in folders and give them out so that they have them and they don't have to look them up. So anyway, those are the types of things that I've done in the past. I mean, we could have those type of things at Green Up Day or blurb in the Observer for the general public too. I don't know if we do that enough. We could get a lot out there. So anyway, so I just went through one and then two. Okay, there needs to be, if you have. A new exotic plant that you're like, uh-oh, this is really gonna take off and we need to take care of it, you need. A protocol in place, and I didn't write the protocol, but I just wrote ideas about what could
You have to
happen.
have a protocol.
So you need a rapid response team. And one way to do that is say, okay, anybody out there wants to learn about knotweed, this is a new invasive, and if we don't get rid of it now. It could really spread, you can learn about it and keep an eye out for it. People are usually interested in that kind of stuff, so that's something we could do. Vermont Master Naturalists are always up for doing stuff like that. Town of Williston staff, it could be. It could be, anybody that works for the town of Williston, even Public Works, if they, I don't know. If they keep their eye out for invasives or what they're.
I'm thinking fellowship staff, the
Oh,
the
yeah,
fellowship crew that's sort of out all
Yeah.
summer long.
If you go to that number one list of who could help identify
Mhm. Fellowship, yeah,
problem spots.
For sure. I mean, they're also like pretty deep in the forest, so they're not usually, but like,
On the way in and out, they might see
yeah,
something.
mountain bikes are also like very good spreaders.
that's what I was just thinking, like, is there some like. like, make sure you don't have seeds in between the treads of your tire. I don't know what it would be. Like the
Reminds me
stupid.
of Mad Cow when they used to have to walk through buckets of sanitizing stuff. You have to like ride your bike through a sanitizing pool.
Yep.
before
I
you can go
actually,
bike.
I actually have seen like a station where you're supposed to like wipe your tires before crossing like a provincial line, but I doubt, I wonder how
Hmm.
well used it is. I don't know.
Sorry, this I
Yeah.
distracted me.
Yeah.
Well, I think, well,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I think that was, I'm just thinking of like, who are the actual trail stewards who,
Who's already out there?
who's
Yeah,
out there?
fellowship's a great idea, cause they
Yeah.
do, they go through and they're
Yeah.
trimming trees and
Mhm.
everything, so. The other thing is. Throughout Williston. There are invasives, so, you know, even. If there's an area we're trying to protect, maybe we would have a foot washing station. But I don't think there is, because there are so many stems of buckthorn throughout Williston and some barberries starting here and there and.
Honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle, those giant monsters of honeysuckle. So. I mean, it's there.
What's that vine? What's the vine?
Bittersweet.
Was that?
With the,
Bittersweet.
with the like red berries with
Yeah,
the yellow.
Yeah,
Makes beautiful wreaths out of
Right,
and
and spreads
hangs
it.
on their door.
So the reason that is an invasive is because, for power lines. The company thought, let's put this in because it'll take down all the trees and bushes, you know, as
Hey.
it grows up.
Consume them.
Eric,
And, yeah.
Well
I
done.
haven't seen you in person. in
Eric?
ages, you know. Welcome back.
We're going over the invasive,
Yeah.
we're going over the invasive species plan that I wrote, so I would love ideas. We're talking about, the first focus is recognizing exotic invasives that are new to the area. And so who is out there that can learn about them, like the adopted trail people, the trail steward, and just keep their eye out for
Yes.
things. They've had a great idea about fellowship because they're out working on their charts a lot. Okay,
And then
so.
who is rapid response team?
Yeah, the rapid response team, like who is gonna be, yeah,
Great.
able to get out there and say, okay, we've got some, you know. Knotweed, how do we deal with this? I actually am going to a. UVM walk about knotweed in a few weekends. Walks on the water side,
Nice.
yeah, so.
Clever.
I know,
I
like
saw-
water resource center, just doing that.
I saw that posted somewhere and I was like, yeah, that's really cool.
So,
By the way, this Vermont invasives website is not up to date. I've tried it in 2 different browsers and it says that their license is expired.
They have been, there's
uh-oh.
been a. Lapse in management of that website, and I don't fully understand it. They've been talking about redesigning. I don't know exactly what's behind it, but they've acknowledged for a little while that they need to do some work on it. So I
That's
don't know,
nice.
they might be
Yeah.
migrating to a new site.
It's not even there anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
It's down.
Oh, wow,
It's not just a direct link, it's the Google search engine.
Really?
You click on it.
wow.
Total,
Yeah,
total fail.
yeah,
Okay.
the ANR website has some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, Water Resource Institute is doing it. That's cool.
Please continue.
Well, there you go.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, 2 exotic invasives that Dave had mentioned. We're looking at knotweed, and I think there's a Vermont Master Naturalist group doing that. Is there, Dave, or not?
They kind of lost momentum over the winter and. Will hopefully, there's still a window opportunity for them to kind of reboot and get reorganized for this spring.
Okay, great.
That'll
Maybe
be-
I'll send out a reminder.
Yeah.
Okay, and then European alder. I don't remember ever seeing European alder, is it?
So yeah, if you'd like to see some European alder, go to the Allenbrook Nature Trail.
Okay,
It's actually quite abundant, but it's not easily recognizable until the leaves come out. If you know speckled alder leaves, the main difference is that there's a little notch at the end of the European alder leaves. It's like a little inward notch at the end, I believe.
And is that one displacing our speckled alder? Or-
It's on the watch list, is not super widespread in Vermont yet. It's, it's on the VT invasive site. There
What
maybe
was.
I'm trying to think, it's not, one of the 20 species that's been on the formal quarantine list for however many years, because the ones that are more established. But it's, as Laura points out, it's a great candidate, has this early detection, rapid response. I actually think that it's been spreading along Allenbrook for quite a while. I think there's probably a mature tree in there. One or more, and I don't know when or how it was planted. But that's probably, a tree that's been propagating gradually.
Mhm.
And last fall, when all the native foliage was down, I went out to look at the beaver dam or the beaver pond that has been reoccupied at the Allenbrook confluence. I was like, oh, it's all over the place here. So it's definitely,
Keeps its leaves a little longer.
yeah, it keeps its leaves a little longer.
Mhm.
And it's, as typically happens with these invasives, it's less choice for beavers than other woody
Mhm.
native species, which they're more familiar with, but which may be a little more in balance with the local ecology. So it is also persisting longer for that reason. Although they are cutting it down to some extent,
Mhm.
which won't kill it. It's the kind of, most
Comes
of these
back up.
riparian shrubs sprout back readily.
I just read that it was spread because it was planted as a windbreak or for firewood, and it was accidentally used in some wetland restorations.
That sounds about right.
Like people were like, oh, it's box elder.
They probably wouldn't confuse it with box
No.
elder, but they could just be alder.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to plant some alder in
Yeah.
restoration projects and.
It's a very different plant. It gets bigger, it grows more like a tree, if left to its own devices versus speckled alder, which is, maxes out as a shrub generally.
Yeah, interesting.
Can we do like 10 more minutes?
Yeah, 10 more minutes, okay. Okay, focus 2, established exotic plants. Okay, and do what is easy and cheap first, and easy and cheap is education. You can conduct workshops, provide informational materials for homeowners and landowners. I mean, a brochure is a great project for CVU or VMN or and I did see this beautiful printable handout on Vermont invasive, so I don't know if it's still there, but the 12 invasive species commonly found in Vermont, which are the ones we see here all over. The other thing is getting residents involved in managing their own yards or larger property. Work parties, we could, you could even have a work party on people's property if they have a big enough property. Chemical treatment, I talk about chemical treatment in an appendix because using glyphosate, I know a lot of people don't like to use chemicals. Glyphosate is one that has been used for cut stump because it binds so tightly with soil, it just doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't go into water. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but
if you apply it to the stump,
if
and
you're
only to the stump.
tight,
I
you're
think
not
okay,
spraying
yeah.
it. Yeah, the cut stump treatment really does a good job.
Broadcasting it. Will,
Like foliar
Right.
spray,
Yeah,
can't really go anywhere.
it will kill
agriculture
anything.
Does on there, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it'll kill also natives, so you just have to know what stump you're.
What it works on more than just buckthorn then, obviously.
More
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, it works any.
Would it work on that root? Cause I got a lot of that.
Root.
Yeah, the bittersweet,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
it would.
Oh, but you'd be like with a paintbrush.
Yeah.
It's the bingo dabber.
It's
that
the bingo
butterflies
dabber, I
got.
should have brought one in,
Just look at the one you gave.
okay.
I've used it on knotweed.
Oh, yeah, I gave you one.
Really?
Even though it still works on a smaller diameter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, also individuals and adopt a trail. I mean, things like buckthorn. I talk a lot about buckthorn because it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
And you also often see it like along trails as you're walking. And often there are new plants, young plants along the edge of the trails, and they're just so easy to pull up because their roots are so shallow. Cutting it is like the worst thing you can do because it, as Ethan Tapper says, it'll get mad and it'll just really, you won't.
Three come up for every one you cut.
Yeah, well, also the roots really go down and you can't get it out of the ground anymore. You can't pull it out. So, anyway, so I talk about communication with town departments is another thing. I don't know if Public Works thinks about invasive species plans. It might be nice to just say, so, what do you take into consideration when, I don't know who mows, or, what they're doing. Also, communication with CSWD. I know there are some plant species that can be composted and some that can't because their seeds aren't killed by the heat. So, I think that's just a phone call actually, so I could do that. And that's just part of the education to tell people. Okay, partners in Williston, so other groups carry insurance because volunteers cannot use chainsaws or chemicals. VAS, the Vermont Association of Snow Travelers, who shares a lot of the town trails, they can. And so, if, we partner with them, they, have insurance to actually just use their chainsaws to clear out. I was thinking honeysuckle, especially like around the bridges that the snowmobiles go over. All right, you can just keep going. Then I put other, yeah, Boy Scouts and, yeah, let's see, school groups,
Yeah.
Scouts, school groups, town library, because walks are scheduled through the town library because the library has insurance also. So, their theme for the summer is digging in dinosaurs. Doesn't have much to do with plants, but
I don't know.
Dig up the invasive.
Yeah.
yeah, are there dinosaurs here?
Yeah.
Get all the kids in there with
Not
their.
there, keep looking.
I feel like we could make that one.
Just move on to the next patch of buckthorn. Just pull them up.
Like, put in one little plastic dinosaur.
When they bring it out, they get a dino toy in exchange.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bring me a honeysuckle scalp and then give it a toy.
Oh, that got dark so fast.
Right.
So targeting areas, I think, for a hired contractor isn't, because you're not gonna be able to actually make any headway where you might want to without that. So, and examples are things like Five Tree Hill. And the interesting thing about Five Tree Hill is Pat Poulin, who runs the groomer for VAST, he said he used to be able to go up and groom all the way around the bench. But now all the honeysuckle and buckthorn
Mhm.
have grown up around the bench,
Mhm.
so it would be, I think, nice to partner with them and take it out and maybe get somebody up there who can actually treat the trees. So it could be a shared, project. And I just put also Mud Pond viewpoint out to the bog, because I know the scouts have spent time cutting invasives at this spot. If you think of any others, and then trails, these invasives grow into trails, so it's easy to actually work on trails. Town forest, I'm leaving to Kim.
Don't worry, I'm on
You've
it.
got this.
Landscaping and private businesses, I mean, that could be a project for someone. Go to these commercial places that have all these invasives that are, that's their landscaping. Still present, spread by birds, spread by wind, spread by water. So.
I don't know if you're gonna get to it, but I would add to that, whole category that I'm thinking of, which is all of the protected open space in all of these individual development areas, especially in the.
Yeah.
In
Like
the,
HOA common land,
exactly,
yeah.
like, we have a ton of it in Brennan Woods. I know Southridge does as well, and nobody knows how to manage those. And I see a lot of people in my neighborhood just like clearing down to the ground. And then I've got other people like Tony who actually know what they're doing and spends like the whole weekend out there doing his own thing in that little parcel of woods, but it's like, it's totally hit or miss.
Oh, wow, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's another spot we
Yeah,
could.
I think that's a huge opportunity especially for education, to get
Right.
people involved.
Well, like a neighborhood walk.
Yeah, neighborhood walk
Yeah.
would be great.
Let's walk through common land and talk
Yep.
about the invasives that are here and what you could do about them when you're out with your dog or.
Right,
I bet Chapin
Organize
organized,
community,
Yeah.
neighborhood,
well, pretty.
poll or whatever, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's perfect. All right, and then I think I had some in general stuff, but, then I had.
And
Yeah.
at one point in time, I know we were talking about invasives, managing invasives at Sucker Brook Hollow,
Mhm.
3 or 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Somebody had done some mapping, all the stuff invasives along the trail there. I don't know what happened to that.
How do you
Like
map
that.
something like that? You don't map individual, right?
Um,
just be like
maybe
roads?
clusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was done by transect surveys.
Mhm.
Or do you have the school properties on here?
Oh,
No, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
yeah, I
Especially
know
the-
Chapin's really a lot with them.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Wild parsnip, it like. kids
Yeah.
could Just run into,
So Chapin's been working with students on the things that are not dangerous to touch.
Right,
With classes that wanna go out and clean up their outdoor classroom by finding all the invasives and removing them.
that's great.
Well, the thing
And
with
then
that
there's the
too-
safety things.
and it's all along the Wilson bike path.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's every 4th of July, there, it's like hanging over, like there'll be one, like everyone's walking past it to go to the fireworks.
Across from your neighborhood.
Right across from my,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, somebody is going to have a really bad day tomorrow, you know?
I mean, those scars that you get from that.
Yeah,
it's a star.
If it's not there, okay.
I know.
Fireworks.
Close that.
I've like thought about chopping it, like it's the wrong time of year, but just like there's so many people on the bike path on the 4th of July and it's like hangs over and.
Mm.
I'm like afraid a child's gonna be like, look, a pretty yellow flower.
Oh, they probably will.
Yeah,
Who mows that? Is that?
if it's, it could be so one partner that should definitely own this is Parks and Rec. They're,
Parks and Rec, yeah.
they've been working on master planning and they're very interested in extending the work that's been done by Chapin at Community Village Park.
Oh, yeah.
Invasive species management is one of the priorities,
Right.
and I think they can be brought into the fold. But the work that Chapin has been doing out there, I think is something that we should be jumping on.
Right.
To continue with all of our capacities for with volunteer work, because parsnip in particular is such an identifiable
Mm-hmm.
and identifiable species that it's a really good hook for bringing people into this kind of work. Because you get highly motivated to go take care of it because it's very visible, it's easy to identify, and it has a health concern attached to it.
Mhm.
And so I think that is an opportunity to get people involved and get volunteers out, especially at these public places along our trail systems, our rec paths.
So it's a little bit trickier, like you don't wanna say like, meet me Sunday at 10 and then it's like bright and sunny. I mean, there is a risk to the person pulling it.
Yeah.
Even if you're covered completely, like you can't fully cover your face. I mean, I just, if you have like
No,
a
you can.
beehive, like. Not everybody has that equipment necessarily. I think. It just takes some.
I do think,
Like Chapin and I've done it along North Williston Road, like when it's raining at 7 at night, like
Yeah,
it's sort
yeah,
of easier to do it at those opportune times, so.
Yep.
It's not that it's impossible, but I think it would be better if we think about maybe having a group of people who are like, hey, it's raining, let's go out and do this.
Well, it's also a biennial, so if you cut it,
That's what I was gonna say. I think part of it is like, can the edger be there at key times of the year?
right, you need to mow it at a key time of the year, is the thing, before the seeds come out. But not when it's too young, because it'll just resprout those flowers.
Mhm.
So, but then the seeds last, what, 7 years? But they don't really get into the ground unless the soil's disturbed, so. Pulling them up actually disturbs the soil, so you might, in some cases, be planting seeds if you're pulling them up when the seeds are on the plant,
Mhm.
So I'd like to share before
so.
we move on, Reed Rose has another comment here, which is like to get HOAs involved.
Oh, yeah,
Williston is about 15 homeowners associations, maybe more than that. And it could be helpful to educate individual owners, but also many of those HOAs use property management companies to do mowing and landscaping. The most direct approach could be to convince the HOA boards and landscape companies to address invasives.
That's a good
Yeah.
point, Reed.
Yeah, like even just getting the board to put in their next contract with their company that they won't plant species that are harmful. Even just that is
Right.
a big,
Yeah.
like having a species list. I know that my HOA, because somebody took the initiative,
Mhm.
we have
Uh.
a species list that says these things are allowed to be planted, everything else is not. These ones we know are safe and are native and all these things.
So I wanna.
That's great.
Thank you so much, Laura. I would like to continue this conversation, maybe after we've had a chance to share the link around.
Yeah,
And then we can all read it with, this conversation in mind and then sort of
yeah,
come
I'll
back to
update
it
it, yeah,
one more time. And then maybe look for you in the next meeting, steps and
Okay.
what we want to do with it.
that's good.
And one, not necessarily something you need to add to it, but something perhaps, Dave, you know of grant opportunities that we could look to as well to apply for various types of projects, whether it's outreach or agricultural management or the hirings, contractor, somebody to actually do the roundup treatments.
There are a couple
Yeah.
of priority spots, have some
Yeah.
money. to it.
So, yeah, I'll just comment briefly to say that there's a big gap between planning and implementation. And that's not just Williston, that is statewide, that is nationwide when it comes to not just this issue, but exactly what you were talking about at the start. You know, we've got these management plans and then they sit. And that's nobody's fault except that what we have to do here is we have to build a scaffolded process and network of people and processes that lives with the town, that connects staff to volunteers to grassroots organizations, so that we can build momentum on this kind of thing. So it's a big challenge, but yeah, all those components are parts of it. And I only say that just so that you're aware that even in putting together this plan, nothing is gonna change overnight. There's a lot of
Right.
work that will need to be done to build the education user base, to galvanize volunteers, to teach them how to do things appropriately, safely, in the right seasons. To find the funding and to find partners who can do the targeted herbicide work. So it's absolutely what we should be spending our time and resources on, but I just say that to bring everyone's awareness to that challenge.
We're trying to build like a immune system. An immune system, we're basically building an immune system. You have that.
But yeah,
Functions.
grant funding is a great way to kickstart that, so I'm glad you brought that up there.
Okay, so, for continuation, we do have an executive session, at 8:20. So I wanna just briefly, it's been on the list for a while to revisit the, reference library. And, I guess, Dave and I just wanna get a sense of how much more work does this need? Is this something that we can table for the time being? And then before we go into executive session, talk about any major topics we want to get to, in our next meeting. Dave, would you be able to share your screen to see show us what the
Yeah,
reference
okay,
library is
so-
looking like?
Yeah, I wanted to check in on the ongoing project of the CC to build this orientation package. as it's been called. And if you look at the Conservation Commission General Information website, what our ultimate goals was to have 3 different sort of areas, sections that people can go look at. And this orientation package, right, is not just for new members, but you also talked about it as your way to communicate with the public and educate the public about what you do. So we landed on this sort of 3-pronged system where there's a reference library, which is going to be the links to all the things that a new member should know, all the existing resources, and just things that even members who've been on the commission for a long time want to be referencing regularly. So it's all in one place. So that I've been working on. I'll show you in a bit. But then the other 2 pieces, the what we do and the WCC development review, were meant to be in your own voice. So short blurbs about what you do in your own words, and how you work through development review. So those are dead links right now. And at one point, homework was assigned. We don't need to go check on that right now because we don't really have the time. But I did want to kind of sneak that back into the learning. I would love to just, at some point get a handle on, has anyone written any blurbs? Do we need to kind of reassign homework?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have my homework written down.
so maybe does anyone recall writing down those assignments at any point?
I remember.
Okay.
I do not.
Maybe we should revisit it fresh. Okay, we'll put that on another agenda because we don't have time right now, but
Okay.
I can show you the reference library.
Yeah, the reference library is really cool.
So this is what we have right now. We've got guiding documents. So the enabling state statute about conservation commissions and their scope and what they're about. And the WCC 1987 goal statement, which is parrots back most of them. And then we have the key town plan chapters and maps from the recently updated town plan, highlighting chapter 13, 14, and 17. That's conservation resources, watershed, and rural land use. I didn't put the recreation section in there, even though it overlaps. And then the maps, all of the individual maps that overlap with the work that you do, land cover, watersheds, topography, farmland, primitive trails, conservation areas, etc. Key bylaw chapters, chapter 27, conservation areas and the map, which is similar to these maps. Chapter 29, watershed health, and then chapter 31, the ARZD. I wanted to keep it targeted. Obviously, there's also, we could put the landscape buffers chapter on here if that would be helpful. There's more we could, but I didn't want to just start putting all the bylaw chapters in there. So you'll need to kind of let me know what's missing from this. That's what I'm hoping to hear from you.
I think that's the purpose of having it say key bylaw chapter.
Yeah.
That's not that there aren't others that we
Right.
look at, but those are the critical ones.
And this list goes to the full bylaw chapters.
Yes.
So then WCC records, I found annual reports going back to 2013 is what I put on there. Williston Natural Resources, these are our existing pages, just hot links to the Natural Resources homepage. Country parks and conservations, trails, and connections, and a space for if you want to highlight current and upcoming projects at any point. These could all be overhauled. They're all not out of date, but they just haven't been worked on in a while. And then external links and resources, and this is meant to be an area where you can compile links to outside organizations or websites that have useful content that you regularly might be interested in looking at. Something like VT invasives could go on here if it existed right now.
Vermont
just as-
Conservation Commissions also.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Good call.
So just to start off, I put on this great explainer about Act 59 in the Vermont Conservation Plan for VHCP, a link to the Vermont wetland rules, a link to the executive order 625. So that was just some filler. I think this is an area that can really be filled out based on your input.
I know,
So, yeah,
sorry,
let's take some comments on it.
yeah, when I was new, I had to look up the VHCB, I was like, what the heck is VHCB? And I had to look up everything. So I noticed, I think on planning, there's a key to the, what letters mean in the plan. I think that would be nice here. Yeah,
An acronym library.
Yeah, I could-
Acronyms you're gonna see everywhere, right? You're gonna see SWHA, what does that
right,
mean?
I had to look
You're
it
gonna
up,
see,
yeah,
yeah,
Another one, Dave, would be a link to Act 181, the new one that's very contentious right now, that went into effect a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Land use.
Yeah. Okay. Good call.
I think this is a great start.
is,
Really, really good. I mean, between all of us, I'm sure we could add comprehensiveness to this that would be mind numbing. But I think it's great. Great resource for us.
Lynn, from your perspective, as somebody who's new. Is this like? Would this be useful to you?
Yeah,
Well, it's out there.
What,
read it all.
yeah, so, and
I mean,
to that point, I haven't read it all, but what, I guess what my vision was, and I've been thinking about something like this for a long time, is this is like perfect, support materials, but I guess what I was thinking is and maybe that's what you have on the, one of the other pages that we haven't done our homework for, is, a brief description of what the different things the Conservation Commission does,
Mhm.
and then how we use those tools in the resource or reference library, to help us better understand what we need to
Yeah.
do for those different
Their
things.
content.
We can call,
Yeah.
if,
Thank you.
if resource library is a better, yeah, maybe that, the resource library is a better.
Sure.
Yes, that's a great point, and I think that's where the homework comes in.
Yeah, so I think as far as moving on with this agenda item in particular. Focusing in future iterations on who wants to take first drafts at what we do and the development review process, as sort of. I'm comfortable with the reference library right now where it's at. If anyone has any direct references they want to add, send them to Dave, I would say. But maybe the next iteration should be to focus on those two remaining topics.
Well,
Okay. All right, so I will look for links for a couple of those things that were referenced, ABCC, I think that's an excellent one, a good explainer about Act 181. And then we'll put this on another agenda so we can check back in on those homework items and. Great.
I wanted to add something for future agenda topics. I don't know if we need to discuss it now or in future meetings, but we ended the fall season before we sort of got distracted with the ERF reauthorization with wanting to put up a bench at Five Tree for Gary.
It's on the 2026 priorities and future topics.
It's been there for a while.
Right, as have many of these things because of that ERF tailspin, I guess. I don't know.
Distraction.
Yeah, but it was on my mind because this came up actually in the town budget gets it recognizes Terry, I think was the first one it did last year.
oh, the town report.
The town
annual
report, and I think, Dave, did you confirm this? Did they go with Gary?
They went with Gary, yeah.
Yeah.
Gary was
I did.
recognized in the annual report.
Great, and did we reference that we wanted to put up the bench?
They actually said at town meeting that this
Yeah.
gonna be put up.
Okay.
Really?
Yes. they
Yeah,
did.
we better do
But
it.
actually,
Yeah,
the bench-
okay. Well,
So it's been announced publicly.
Yeah.
The bench is coming for Gary.
so I wanna prioritize that.
Okay.
And I definitely wanna, so I'll make the executive decision to put it on the agenda for next.
Okay,
For
yeah,
next
I think what I need from the CC is some direction on what you want that bench to look like. That would be really helpful. Or I shouldn't say need, but that would really help move that process along, because what I just don't have capacity right now to do is go research styles of benches and aesthetics.
right,
As other duties as a side project.
Yes, yeah, spring is there, Nikki, that, and I
Does
mean,
anyone have a picture of the bench?
so, yeah,
If it
Yeah.
exists?
if the existing bench
That's on
that,
Five Tree Hill.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
up there is set up,
It's-
is like a concrete
It
style.
says cement
Or
support
cement, yeah.
with the recycled plastic like trucks,
Yes.
like chunky.
Yeah.
they're thick,
Yeah.
chunky slats, which are
Mhm.
almost unbreakable, though somebody somehow managed to take a sledgehammer to one and break it.
Yeah.
Oh, they
something.
did.
There's like one that's broken off on the end, anyway,
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah,
So-
that's the.
A weatherproof bench.
And it is very durable, and it seems to be holding up really well, so I wouldn't mind like a matching.
When we were up there, we noticed that it had been installed by Dirt Tech. I think it said that at the base. Like, so,
Dirt tech.
yeah, so someone installed that for us many years ago.
sure, I mean, the fastest way to make this work is if you found a product that's out there, you know,
It's
we're like,
reasonable price.
this is a bench that we can order and the company installs it. And it's gonna cost this much, I can make that happen very fast. It's slower if I have to do research. And the other thing we can do is hire like a builder, you know, to go build a bench, for example, out of wood materials. That's also generally takes a little longer because we have to give input on the style and all of that, so.
But we need it to be, like, we can't be like, oh, it's gotta be one that has like footings, right? That's like not movable.
Be anchored.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Does someone want to work with me over the next 2 weeks to just through email, to try and find something like this and then make a proposal at the next commission meeting?
I'm happy to do that unless someone else is feeling excited about it. I'd like to do something for Gary.
Okay, Reed and I will do that, offline and make a recommendation at our next meeting.
Okay.
Put it in my calendar. All right, I will now cede the meeting to the process of establishing an executive session.
You have a proposed motion, I'm happy to read it. It's probably where you're going right now.
all right, that's where I'm going, so you've done this drill before. Executive session motion should include a reference as reference in the statute that there is a finding that premature general public knowledge would place the public body or person involved at substantial disadvantage. This is a continuation of the same topic that the Conservation Commission has called executive session for recently in the past.
Land acquisition, right?
Yes, land acquisition, negotiation or securing of a real estate purchase, or, yeah.
Yeah, I'll move that we enter executive session to discuss information about a potential land acquisition. About which making premature general public knowledge would place a public body or person at substantial disadvantage related to negotiation of securing real estate purchase.
second.
Excellent, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, so moved, we'll move into executive session.
All right, Reed and Chapin, thank you for joining us this morning. We're gonna end the public session. Oh, and they have already gone.